So our first boxing news is a major deal, major moves coming from Team Canelo Alvarez. And this is brought to you by CBS Boxing. Canelo Alvarez signs with Premier Boxing Champions. What the deal means for potential future opponents and title challengers. So Canelo Alvarez recently signed a $100 million 3-fight deal with PBC/Showtime, and his first official opponent from that would be against Charlo. And the article particularly speaks of Alvarez has been working with Matchroom Boxing for 6 of his 7 most recent bouts, but has now switched promotional allegiances to PBC for a reported 3-fight deal. It's believed that the first fight of the deal will see Alvarez defend his status as undisputed super middleweight champion against the WBC middleweight champion, Jermall Charlo. Alvarez versus Charlo would be an intriguing fight with some backstory, given that Charlo was promoted to world champion from interim in 2019, when, rather than accept a mandatory title defense against Charlo, Alvarez accepted the WBC offer to be promoted to franchise champion. While still a big fight, Alvarez versus Charlo isn't quite what it would have been a couple of years ago. That is partially because Alvarez, looking somewhat diminished in a loss to Dmitry Bivol, and wins over Triple G and John Ryder, and partially because Charlo recently crossed 2 years of inactivity. The true big fight fans are hoping may come out of this Alvarez deal with PBC is a showdown with the rising star David Benavidez. Benavidez is undefeated, 2-time former WBC super middleweight champion and current interim WBC champion. His March win over Caleb Plant was one of the best performances of his career, and again established him as arguably the biggest threat to end Alvarez's reign atop the division. Man. So what do you think about this 3-fight deal and the potential, opponents coming out of PBC Showtime for Canelo Alvarez?
Damn, I mean, that's what I was gonna ask.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the potential for Benavidez? Because everyone's been talking about it, and I know that I've said earlier that it might, I don't know, not be a thing because Canelo has a thing with fighting fellow countrymen, and Benavidez being one of those. Of course, I don't think that Canelo is scared of Benavidez. He's been in it, and he's faced very many scary opponents. Um, and so I doubt that he's quote unquote running from David Benavidez. But if this thing, if that becomes a thing, that's going to be a super huge fight to look out for. And so I hope that Alvarez changes his diet. Because when we were watching him against Ryder, he won, but it was, you could tell that he was a lot more gassed in the later rounds that we would like. And I hope that is just because of his diet, because I think it was said that he was on some sort of vegetarian or meat, like not a meat heavy diet, and I'm not sure what he's using for protein, but for whatever it is, he just looked gassed by the end. And knowing David Benavidez, who proved me wrong, right? We had reason why Mark is going ha ha is because David Benavidez just smacked Caleb Plant, I was rooting for the last time they fought. And David Benavidez does not stop. He's always there. He's always in the front. He's always pushing forward. He has a really, really good sense of pressure. And this is going to be an interesting fight if it happens. By the way, Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez, because both have that, that Mexican style of fighting where it's just constant forward pressure power shots. Uh, and it'd be something to see. I think I still have Canelo winning that. He's not that old. He is a very, very hard puncher. He also does a lot of pressure. So I don't know. I mean, I would have Alvarez coming out of that on top, but I that's a very exciting fight to see if it does happen. And this is good. That's a lot of money. $100 million for 3 fights. That is that is insane amount of money per fight. He can fight once a year. He can fight twice in 1 year and once in another year. However, he wants to lay that out. But yeah, I think Canelo is. If I'm proving me wrong, but I think Canelo is like one of the most. It's like one of the richest athletes out there. If I remember correctly. I mean, like some I was telling this to Mike earlier, but some boxers haven't even seen $100 million and they've been fighting longer. That's insane. That or it just might be inflation, like it might be inflation. I don't know. Like maybe $100 million back then was equivalent to some lower amount. But still $100 million is $100 million. You could buy a lot of Bugattis, but he has that already. I don't know what he would buy now with $100 million. So what do you think, Mark? What do you think about the scenario and potential matchup between the two if it happens?
It's huge, bro. Because one, there's nowhere for Canelo to like turn to because he's
Mm-hmm.
signed with a 3-fight deal with PBC and it's a contract. So whatever happens, he has to fight under PBC for those 3 fights, and whatever opponent, whether or not Canelo likes it or not, you're gonna give him an opponent under PBC, and possibly one of those opponents is going to be David Benavidez. Um, I think it's great, particularly for fans. It's also really good for Canelo because that's a lot of money. That is 9-figure contract right there.
Nine figure, yep.
Yeah, and not only that, but I don't think it accounts for the pay-per-view buys, the pay-per-view splits, and how much does he get from the gate,
Mm-hmm.
all of that accounted for. In addition to that, his opponent, Jermall Charlo, I think it would be an easy touch-up for Canelo, considering his opponent hasn't fought in 2 years. Just put it out there. It'd be really good. It's a great, story builder. It really amps up the storyline for Canelo versus Benavidez. I think this is great for that fight. Hopefully it happens. But hey, man, you got to be as big as Canelo to get that 9-figure contract. Take some notes, Teofimo Lopez. Just saying. Because even Lomachenko, Triple G, and all these other fighters who've been fighting in it hasn't even seen the type of contracts or deals that Canelo has gotten. Because earlier in his career, he got a $200 million contract from DAZN. So, hey man. More importantly, let us know what you guys think about this. Which fight would you like to see come out from this 3-fight deal that PBC and Team Alvarez has signed together? Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below.